What's up, Andrew? Round two, number two, I guess.
Number two in the bag, and that could be taken really the wrong way,
Well,
couldn't
yeah, norm-
it? What a way to start our second
well,
second video.
normally we both would be doing this in a normal Friday work environment, and it isn't. We're just shooting this on the day after the 4th of July. We've got a skeleton crew at Heavenly Greens, and yeah, a lot of the bigger companies are just kind of shut down. So I'm shooting this from home. Mic number two. But anyway, today's topic, and hey, what's happening? My name's Troy Scott with Artificial Grass Marketing. Who's that dude right there?
Andrew Currit, Chief Operating Officer for Artificial Grass Marketing, and that was a really kind of left field entry to our weekly highlight call. But hey, you know what? If you can't have fun,
That's
don't
not
do
how
it.
these calls are going to go, man. I mean, we're not operating off a script. It's definitely just sort of shooting from the hip, and I kind of like that vibe, anyways. Yeah, we've got the three bullets that we're going to talk about today, but we're not running off of a script. But specifically, we want to talk about how you're managing your leads. What we found with a lot of the companies that we've worked with, and when we first bring them on board or when we start talking about them, they're not looking at their business and their leads and their entire pipeline the way that they should. Oftentimes, in fact, we just got off a call a couple of weeks ago with a fellow who was looking at alternatives to how he was operating his business. He was just managing everything on his mobile device. He was living off of the email client. I think he was using Gmail. Do you remember this call, Andrew? And he had no way to follow up with leads. If he got a call, he booked the appointment. He kind of used the calendar, but wasn't really. And then I asked him a key question. I said, great, you're getting leads. That's fantastic. And you're making sales. What about the appointments that you went to where they said no? What are you doing with those leads? Because oftentimes, especially in the turf business or in landscaping business in general, there's a big out of alignment that takes place with what the consumer thinks the price should be and what the actual reality of the price is, especially with artificial turf, because it's a little bit pricier than what a lot of people really are ready for. So anyway, the no's oftentimes aren't no because they're not ready to buy. They may have been ready to buy, but it was just a more expensive endeavor than they thought. Those no's down the road with proper follow-up and proper lead nurturing can turn into yeses. Heavenly Greens has been able to use marketing automation to do that pretty consistently with the no's. And then they get into our marketing automation. They also are into our newsletter so that we're communicating with them about upcoming projects or projects that we've completed, and we can make offers to them as well. So having a follow-up sequence built on a pipeline is kind of what we're talking about today. Anything you want to add to that, Andrew?
No, and I think we're all human and we're all busy, and yesterday was 4th of July, so as of we're recording this, and you want to be able to take time off, and you want to have those days where you can just completely shut down and not even have to think, did I follow up with that person? Did I call them back? Did I send them a text? Did I send that proposal? Whatever it is, whatever stage of the journey they're in, and if you can automate that, it just makes your life a lot less stressful.
So yeah, Heavenly Greens has basically 14 sales reps. I think at our peak we had 16. We might even be down a little bit because the market's slowing down. But even our sales reps don't follow up, right? You think that they would be following up. So we have to ensure our own success as business owners and make sure that we have follow-up sequences in place. And again, just getting back to the beginning, what we were talking about, working with folks, they don't have those systems, or they haven't even thought about putting something like that in place. So having follow-ups and making sure that you have a mechanism to do follow-ups is another key part of what you're doing with lead management. So let's do this, Andrew. Let's roll over to this worksheet that we're going to be giving everybody today. We've got a free downloadable worksheet. It's a Google Sheet. It's based off of the KPIs that really every landscape or turf company should be looking at. And Andrew's going to share that now. There's two tabs. The first tab is where you put your marketing spend in. And if you're not spending any money on marketing, That's fine. Good for you. Fantastic. You're most likely not going to grow. If you're living off of referrals, that's great. What happens when your referrals dry up or business slows down? So you should be marketing. Typically, businesses that are 800 to a million plus are spending money on marketing, and there's different types of marketing spend. You could be spending money on operational things like software or SEO and some of the other things that you've got to spend money on. But spending money on marketing is important because you have to track what you're doing. So in this case, just looking at the January example, in this hypothetical, $8,000 spent on marketing delivered 512 leads. Out of those 512 leads, 26 jobs were sold. And then we've got our gross sales number for that given month. And then now you're kind of taking a look at what the cost per lead was and your average sale, and then your cost per sale. The nose in that $8,000 spend, there's money in the follow up. You may have heard that before. So these leads, 512 and only 26 sold. That just means they're in your pipeline. You haven't set appointments yet. Maybe you haven't been able to get a hold of them. Not sure. This hypothetical might be a little bit higher if we were spending that much money on marketing. I'd imagine that gross sales would be more than that. But that's what you get the idea on this tab. And down at the bottom, you can see that it says total cost per lead, total spend, and total sold. These are just laying out the marketing tab. Let's look at our KPI performance. So with this on the bottom, I just want to talk about how this is laid out. We've got total appointments set percentage. We've got total appointments ran. Those are two different numbers. You're going to find as your system gets up and running, you're going to have leads, appointments ran, appointments set and appointments ran. These numbers are going to differ because your pipeline is full, and the follow-up process is going to set more appointments in a given month than your leads were set that month, which is why you have two different numbers. And then you've got, total sales percentage, marketing automation unsold, just in continued follow-up, and total job sold and average sales. So back up to column B, total leads in the system, appointment set. If you look at the lead appointment set, that percentage, 68% in this hypothetical, that's pretty good. If you're at 65 and above, that means you've got pretty good lead flow and you've got enough. How would I say? These are probably really qualified leads. I think at its peak, Heavenly Greens was at like 73, 75% appointment set percentage from lead flow. But anything above 65 in the home improvement industry is kind of average. And then we look at our appointment ran number. That percentage is a little bit different because it's operating off of, I think we're pulling it off the leads, right? Appointment ran? I believe so. I believe that's how that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be D2, B2. Yep. Yeah. So it's the percentage to the actual leads. So that's why it's about a 4%.
Yeah.
Difference.
And, if you look at your sales, you had 270 sales. If you had 200, do we have an average ticket in this spreadsheet?
Yeah,
we don't.
That's really just a document.
I think the team kind of made
a lot of sales from the month before.
Yeah, that's quite, congratulations on 270 sales on 312 leads. Anyway, you get the idea of what this spreadsheet's about. And by the time we get this live, that'll be fixed. But this, if you just actually put this into your business, you're going to be able to look at things dramatically different because you're going to know what's sort of left on the table and what you need to follow up with. This marketing automation, you may or may not have that in place, but if you've got follow-up sequences in place, text messaging, SMS text messaging, newsletters to be able to tell people about your projects, this is just another great way to follow up. But looking at your business this way is looking at it from a data-driven perspective. And really, when things start to get interesting is when you've logged another year and you've got 3 years in place, and you can start looking at what we look at as trends in the marketplace, and you're able to actually determine, how much marketing spend did we spend in Q1? What was the results in 2023? How are we doing now in 2024? These are the ways you want to be looking at your business. And Andrew, this is kind of simulating the pipeline in the software.
For the artificial grass marketing app, we took all these KPIs that Troy used has used at Heavenly Greens, and we basically what we created our pipeline, or there's a lot of versions of it, but the opportunities, the pipeline, to help our clients manage their business. So I'm just pulling up the demo account right now.
And as Andrew as Andrew pulls that up, I'm not gonna use a name, but we have one of our clients, a very early adopter of our platform. He wasn't managing his business. He was managing his business off of a whiteboard, which, believe it or not, is pretty common that we hear. And once we were able to get his data into the platform and have him look at his numbers, not only was he able to see, hey, I need to spend a little bit more money in this space, a little bit more money in that space, less money here, and seeing where his results are coming from, he started to really take a look at his business different. And his business is significantly different today. He's grown quite a bit, and he lives in the software. And honestly, the software is kind of what it's all about anyways.
So this is the back office of the Artificial Grass Marketing app. This is the desktop version. You can see this in your mobile app as well, so you can literally be out in the field running this. It's obviously a little more condensed, but it is mobile optimized and works really, really well. So we call it lead flow because that's really what it is. And basically from left to right, just like we've just shown you on that spreadsheet, you've got leads, appointments booked, appointments ran, proposals out. So obviously the proposal is the next stage after you've run an appointment if someone wants to go forward. Proposals approved and deposit received. Sometimes that's the same stage depending on your business, but you may not receive the deposit immediately. So it's good to kind of track both steps. Then you obviously want to schedule your job, installation, jobs in progress, your installation's completed, and then, or the total is installed, like completed, and then you get your final payment. And then we also track, no-show, canceled appointments, and then canceled jobs if, after that.
One thing I'm just going to add to the front end of that is the leads are actually getting in here automatically. Whether or not that is somebody filling out a form or someone placing a call, the call is actually tracked and the data is pulled in if it's not blocked by a national list. That contact information will show up automatically. Plus, you can add them in manually as well.
You're seeing these numbers here, which you might be like, well, how did we get these numbers? So one of the things we do with our clients when we onboard them is ask, what's your average ticket? Everyone should have a good idea. How much is your average installation? It might be, 5,000, might be 10,000, might be 7,000, whatever it is. And what we do is that with every lead that comes into the platform for you, we assign that dollar amount because that's a potential revenue from that lead, right? So your lead stage here might be hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, depending on, the volume of leads you have. But what you'll see is hopefully not too much of a decrease, but as you go into appointment booked, it'll drop slightly because you've got obviously less leads going into that stage. It'll drop again, possibly with the appointment ran, hopefully not too much. But by the time you get to the proposal out, that's where you start putting in actual numbers. A job might be 15,000, it might be 3,000, it might be 100,000, whatever it is, that's where you start updating that. So the proposals out stage and onwards becomes a much more accurate representation of the potential revenue you have to be collecting in the future.
And this is also not completely on a dashboard, but if you go to the main dashboard, there's another view of this, which is more topical, and you're able to see kind of just quickly at a glance of what is going on in your business. And that's done with these dashboards. Anyway, these dashboards are super handy because you're able to, looks like this isn't populated in the demo, but I guess it is. Okay, cool. So if you go to the top, you can see that, here's the number of leads that came through. That's how Andrew's calculated the value of each lead. That produces the value in the pipeline. And that's where these numbers are coming from when you look at the funnel right there. And then you can see to the right, it says 5, showing you the steps of where these proposals go out. But anyway, there's the 3 things we wanted to cover. We wanted to talk about leads. We wanted to talk about this free Google Sheet. And we want to talk about how it actually is mimicking the pipeline already built into the software.
Yeah.
So with that information, we're going to close out the second video here, and there should be a QR code on the screen. You've probably seen it once or twice. Feel free to get on our list so we can make you aware of these podcasts that are going to be coming up. Not only will we be talking about other things besides the app, but we'll be bringing industry people in as well. So thanks for your time today. Be sure and get the link for the free sheet that's in the somewhere. It's going to be down in the description, I guess.
Yep.
And yeah, thanks a lot for taking the time to check us out again today.
Okay. We'll see you next week at the next call. Have a great week, guys.
See you guys.
Yeah.